10 years when we look at high school. Generally speaking, we project out 5 years for all other campuses. The problem with enrollment projections is they're subject to change drastically. So what I'd first like to do is show you as an indication of how that jumps. If you look at page 1, this October enrollment history, our peak. And this starts in 71, 72, where we had 4,400 students in October, all the way to the peak that we've had to this point was in 05, 06, which was post-Katrina, or during the Katrina Rita hurricane year, where we had a jump or spike of 3,000 students overnight. But we pretty much leveled off at 45,000 students. But if you look at that linear regression line, that normalized line, we were all the way up to 05, 06, we were a pretty constant growth level or ratio of new students every year, which caused us to build schools at a certain rate. Typically, we were opening at least 1, sometimes 2 campuses per year. So that's the enrollment side of things. That projection happens starting now and goes through January with changes in enrollment that happen between now and then factored in. Plus, we actually subscribe to several services for enrollment data based on our ownership, based on each subdivision, and there's a company that does that and tracks the new home sales and kind of a census, if you will, on the fly, as well as what developers are planning to construct. Now, we have basically nil in the way of construction of homes right now. There's very, very little construction going on homes lately. That started in 2008, right at the peak of the market, and then we had at that time probably 4 subdivisions that were under construction at the time, all went dormant, sat dormant for roughly 3.5 years, and they just started to creep back in there and build some houses and finish some houses in those 3 subdivisions. And there's been some smattering here or there where builders have gone back in and finished a few houses in subdivisions, but significant growth stopped 4 years ago. Apartments. The second part of that is most of the apartment growth we've had is all in elderly apartments, not in the traditional style apartment that we see. Now that's a good thing from the standpoint of what we have. We have 217 complexes in Alief. Half of our students come from apartments, and so the best thing that can happen are renovation projects with those existing apartments. And we've had, in the last 4 years, I think, 4 renovation projects, some of them significantly large complexes. The most recent being a Section 8 job that's being done in the best zone of the Sugar Branch condos, which will make for immediate cheap housing that's all been redone. We also have one down in the Horn Zone, Premier on Woodfair. There's another project with tax credit money. So we've had a lot of that, which we need more of, because we have an average 27-year-old complexes in Alief. That's how they're all starting to really age structurally. So the second section of this is the facilities plan. And in here, primarily we say, here's the property that we have, here are the capital improvements that we have scheduled with the remaining bond funds that we've had from our last referendum, and that starts on page 19. And there's tables for each of the years going out through 2016, and that last 2016 through 2020 is just a projection of what we need beyond what our current bond authorization allows us to issue bonds for. We had a bond authorization the voters have passed extremely well. I think it was 89% passage rate in 2003, $175 million bond issue. We built some schools with that, and when we realized that we had stopped growing in 06, starting in 07, 08, we kind of put on hold any an expansion of our footprint of buildings and turned our dollars towards renovations, okay? So in these lists, they're color-coded for a reason. There's a little code down there. But for the most part, we're talking about roof replacements, HVAC system upgrades or replacements, which may or may not include increasing the amount of airflow to meet new code standards. It could be electrical replacements where we have panels and circuit breaker systems that were put in 30 years ago in order to add computers and things. We've stressed it beyond its limit. Or it could be foundation repairs. It seems like every year we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to fix cracks and slabs and those types of things. So those kind of renovations can be fairly expensive. You're talking about heating, ventilation, air conditioning. For instance, we did at Hastings this last summer, we did phase 2 of a 3-phase project and did basically the north house, complete gut and replace of all the ductwork and air handlers, and that was a $2 million project. We've got another $2.4 million this next summer in the south house. And then Hastings will be all state-of-the-art air conditioning throughout, pinpoint controls down to the rooms. Stuff that had been failing for years, we lost control of, had to manually open and close dampers and things.
Wow.
And so that's where we've been spending our money. But if you look at 2016 through 2020, there's roughly just over $15 million of additional things that need to, maintenance that identified that need to be done. A big chunk of that is in restroom upgrades in our elementaries. We've got restrooms that were built in a completely different era of what building code was allowing. A lot of that having to do with Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, that they're not handicap accessible, they don't have enough fixtures. So we've been doing one of those usually a summer, trying to update the student restrooms, and that's a major project. Fire alarm upgrades, we have quite a few fire alarm upgrades still yet to do, but we've been diligent about replacing the oldest first and working on that. So when you look at that list that is in the 2016 through 2020, some of the biggest ones, like we identified that we're going to have to get it on the list to look at our stadium, because our turf is at its lifespan. We don't have ADA capabilities with our stadium for disabled people. When you look at in the 2014 and 2013, some of the big ones are Chancellor and Smith air conditioning systems at $2.5 million each. Martin is $2.3 million. When you start looking at the year those schools were built, those are just the last few gut and replace of air conditioning systems. So all that to say is in the last 7 to 8 years, we've made amazing headway with getting roofs replaced. And if you go look at an aerial view of Alief schools, it used to be that they were all dingy, dirty roofs. We've got lots of nice, pretty white reflective roofs now on all the buildings. We've got rid of the leaks. We've got air conditioning systems at an all-time functioning level that can only be attributed to spending the dollars where we needed to at the time. We're going to look at one of those tonight just to let you know what they look like after they've aged. Which takes me to this next section, which is on the money side of things, the finance section. That's the third piece of this document, is we look at how we're going to spend this money, how we're going to come up with this money. And we, out of that $175 million, on page 26, we did not have a bond sale in 2012. Normally in the summer we'd have a bond sale. We didn't have one this last summer. We funded projects out of the general fund that we transferred some money to cover. We didn't sell any bonds. We're planning on selling $5.5 million this coming summer. So the projects have been identified, and just shy of $10 million for the 3 summers after that. That's basically $34 million is all we have left to sell from the $175 million that the voters passed in 2003. Now, we can go out there and look for more bond funds by having a bond referendum. Hasn't been real popular, but at this election, actually, it went very well for HSD and HCC. We also have, when we passed this referendum, we've for the last 6 years, have spent less general fund monies on capital than we ever did in the past. Typically, a school district will allocate their budget just out of their maintenance and operations, some maintenance type expenditures to upgrade some smaller items that are waiting to play from a bond issue. A lot of districts that are larger or say better funded than Alief is at the state, from the state funds. Those districts aren't doing that as much. They don't want to fund because they don't have the money. They put all their money towards salaries. So one problem that I have to solve, or we have to solve in the business office, is once we look at a 10-year plan of what things we need, how are we going to fund it? Are we going to fund it through trying to stick a little side out of the maintenance and operations budget, or are we going to try and plan a bond issue a few years out to say, hey, in order to continue to do this, we're going to have some financing needs to pay for it. I will tell you that in the last 2 years, we've dropped, because we pay, mainly we pay our bond debt off faster than most districts. We dropped our tax rate a penny last year, dropped it a penny again this year, planning on a penny and a half the following year, and another penny the following year after that. That's including everything that's in here. We're going to still, so we're not going to make it worse on the taxpayer. We're going to prove to them that we can do it better, and we can continue to drop or hold this tax rate. And going into that next referendum or however we pay for that, that's one goal we have, is to say, hey, because we've taken care of facilities, it's not a bulldoze and replace. We continue to do these things every year so that we don't get in a situation where we need, $500 million to bulldoze a third of our schools and rebuild them. Okay.
So equate to Charles and revenue, one thing.
That's not a real fair question. $3 million. But that's not a real fair question because it depends on what penny it is. And it depends on every legislative session. They change and have the ability to change what that level is. Yeah, it's a little different on the debt service side. But anyway, all that to say is the financing part of it's it's really the easiest part of it from the standpoint that we either have it or we don't in the general fund based on the projects we need. And if we don't, we're going to have a bond referendum. And then it's up to us or everybody that knows what we need to communicate it, make sure everybody knows, and also to communicate that we wouldn't be raising taxes to do it. At the rate we pay out our debt, we're the fastest in the area. We have the lowest debt to student ratio in all the districts in Harris County, and the lowest debt to population or person living in the district of all the school districts in Harris County. So, this piece of paper here has got these little 4 blocks. I just wanted you to know that we're looking at the age of these facilities, and the first block there being the ones that were built from 64 to 77. Humans being the oldest facility that we have. That's the first on our trip tonight. Well, second on our trip. Hey, Russell. This first on our trip tonight is humans. That school is 48. Miss Trent is on the committee. You may not know her. She's the principal at humans. And so she knows, she's lived in that building long enough to know exactly what she needs. We built that school, and we built schools to last forever, and it looks like it, but at the same time, it's held up well. We've had very little problem with it, and we've kept it up. We've put in new air conditioning, we've done things along the way. The second school we're going to go to, which we're not going to get a whole lot of time to do this, so we're going to try and get you there and get toured through there quickly so we can get back and not ruin your whole night. But it's Hearn Elementary. which is down by O'Donnell. And Hearn was built in 1987. It's 25 years old. It's a very good example of the late 80s, early 90s, the kind of construction that we were doing in schools in Houston. And it has not had the HVAC upgrades that we'll be able to see a little bit of what could be done, but also see kind of what carpet looks like, things like that, that are other expenditures that we have to do to maintain. And then the very first place we're going to do is we'll walk out and take a look at the stadium too, so you guys can, for those of you who've never been to a football game, see what we've done on the inside. Jot in there and get on the bus, so if we could do that. I know Jennifer Parker is principal at Hastings High School, and she's volunteered to be on the committee, and she's had a lot of upgrades in Hastings over the years with some brick replacement, HVAC replacement. We've put in some walls because we've got a very open concept up in Hastings North and South. At the same time, we put walls in elementaries, and I know that she wants to close those rooms even more, to have doors and so forth, like say Taylor High School has, or some of our middle schools. And also, just about every square inch of Hastings has a new roof now. And in fact, got a new roof on part of it because the hurricane blew it off of the gym. So, and same thing over at Newlands. Hurricane blew the roof off of the Newlands gym too. But in this, walking in these campuses, we're not going to go to Hastings, but if we want to schedule a time where you can go to some of the other facilities, I can do that at a later time. So tonight, we're going to go look at those schools, come back here and briefly. I'm just going to give you an email over the Thanksgiving break and Christmas break, some ideas to ponder. And what I want you guys to do is to think outside the box and what are other needs that the district needs to consider. From your perspective, from your experience, from your involvement in the community, we have identified kind of the status quo. This is maintaining what we've got. Okay? So part of this is, what else do we need? So I asked Bill Marshall to be on this committee. He's the Director of Career and Technology Education, and we've made a big push at Alief's going in a different direction, and we're going to have college and career ready, you know, and there's a lot of identification of pathways to certifications and jobs that are well-paying jobs out there that we have to get some more certification programs in place. We don't necessarily have the room right now, so we've got to think about recarving out room in some of our high schools, potentially prepping those kids at middle school level, how our kids are going to get to and from these career tech programs during the day. Is it going to be on every campus or just in a central place? And so I've asked him to kind of think outside the box about how we go forward with career tech. He's also the director, kind of a dual hat, director of instructional technology. I'll tell you that we've spent a lot of money in technology in the school district over the years, to the tune of about $3 to $3.5 million a year. But that's at a point of maintaining, and has been for about 15 years. We put in the networks and everything, and we're about to go different directions on technology too. The world changing on mobile and Wi-Fi and everything else that we're doing a network upgrade this year, getting ready for that. So Bill's got a lot of forward-thinking things to do. So from your perspective, be thinking, you may have already had an idea. You know what? All these years I knew what Alief needed was this or that. I want you to tell us what those are, okay? So in the end, the goal is we come back to that January meeting, I want to have everybody's kind of list of things that wishes, desires, thoughts, whatever, down so we can kind of talk through them, okay? So we go first with Rick.
Go out this way.
Rick Elzaldi, you met him before. He's the assistant superintendent of support services. He's over at the whole athletic program, and Phil Felton down there is our transportation director. We tried to buy him about 9 to 10 buses a year. Keep a replacement cycle going on his buses. Just got out of the 1980 series. So he's going to take us on one of his finest, newest buses.
How you doing?
up here if you want.
Or if you want to bring them with you on the bus, you can eat on the bus.
I'm gonna write all my stuff. How you doing?
Doing okay?
We need to be able to multitask, so about the laptop and everything.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I got it. You got it? I got it.
Thank you.
All right. You got that one?
Good, good.
They cut the lights off. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute to cut.
Put them back on.
Yeah.
Look at Rick, already checking the ball game.
I know, right? It's Monday Night Football. Who's playing that? Not till what, 8 o'clock?
Right.
8 o'clock.
Pittsburgh and KC, yeah.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
That's what followed. Look.
Really, I'm sorry. You took a little bit longer than the building coming out.
My very first time ever riding school bus.
Really? Wow.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
So my kids got it. Mom's gonna ride a school bus. They're like,
They want to turn them on.
Oh, you were fortunate.
no, I grew up in the country and we were gonna really walk.
Oh,
But
okay.
this is a upgrade.
All right.
So 200 kids, 12.
Mm.
Everywhere that we were, we walked.
Yeah, they're going to turn the lights on in just a minute. We'll just kind of wait here, get out of the wind here a little bit. We'll go. They're going to turn the lights on in just a minute. A little quick history on because you can't see it right now. Quick history. The track was built in 1992. That's 20 years old. And the reason it lasted that long. Yeah, the current version, right? Exactly. Yeah, it used to be. But the thing it lasted for a long time, and you all know a whole lot about that, is because we only let it to competition. Middle schools or high schools, they all use it. We have track meets here for the high schools, so that's the only time they really use it. If not, it probably needed to be repaired a long time ago. We've got lots of cracks in there and lots of separation on the track itself. We're already down to the asphalt there, but it's laid up on top. Our turf was built in 2002, right, Pat? 2002, and we came off. That was the second time it was done for AstroTurf. And the only problem we've had some problems right now with the AstroTurf and the separation. Also, the abrasiveness of the synthetic turf right now. This particular one was back in 10 years ago. It's on its 10th year right now, coming up to 10, coming up to 11. It's very abrasive. People don't they don't play anymore on that. It's just some of you people that played in sports or have kids that play in sports, it's like getting a carpet burned down. It's really, really bad on
It has a 10-year lifespan, and out of in our UIL region, 32 high school stadiums have the newer form of artificial grass. I'm sorry, 30 of the 32, 2 of them have actual real grass, but they're very small districts. This is what we call AstroTurf R12. It was at the time we put it in 2002, it was the going thing. But everybody else has since replaced theirs. And so now we have varsity athletes that have one set of shoes to play on this turf and another set of shoes to play on everybody else's turf.
Exactly. So it's a little bit different.
So the high school perspective, high school principal, I can tell you, the athletes and the coaches, they really have a hard time with the turf. Also, I probably have one to 2 years to the ACL on this kind of turf.
Wow.
So it's hard.
And the other thing with the track being 20 years old, it's real hard. So it still looks fairly decent. I mean, we've gotten our money's worth out of that track. It creates shin splints, and then the kids on the I don't say horses, but on the hurdles go over the top of the hurdles. If they fall, they just get torn up. because it's really hard and rough now. The rubber's really turned to almost like hard plastic. So that's at the same time we do the turf, we're going to have to do the track because it's a whole new drainage system. This actually drains through to drains that are on the side. Here, all the new turfs actually drain down and then go through like French drains underneath the track to the side. So, but it's one of those deals you have to do it in the summer. You can't do it any other time. So
Does the field use too much to use active ground?
it's not that it's used too much. There's a lot of companies, or there's a lot of districts and colleges that have gone to natural grass and have gone back. Because when you look at it, this turf cost us just shy of $700,000 in 2002. On a year-to-year basis, it's about $70,000 a maintenance. Okay, a real field with heavy clay is going to have seed, fertilizer, people to cut it, water it every day,
Yeah, the water's gonna be.
and the upkeep of if it's got low spots and has to be done. When you look at it, it's kind of a wash, except for the issue of we would be probably as a 5A school district the only one that has grass, real grass. So I think when we look at it, we don't want to be blazing new territory that nobody else is going to follow.
In the area, we're probably, well, where we are, they're in the grass field. Tomball is probably the closest one.
Tomball and Galveston.
Galveston, probably the only ones. Everybody's gone with synthetic turf. No astroturf like we have here. It's all synthetic turf that you're on. Now, when we get back in, I'll show you, I've got samples of what the synthetic turf
Then the other thing is like soccer. Soccer doesn't want to play on it because it's too fast.
Yeah.
Ball rolls too fast.
And that all comes into play because Alief is geographically in a really good spot to get playoff games.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we have something everybody uses, then we'll get
That's-
revenue.
And we used to be
Right.
the place to go for track.
Yeah. And then people are shying away.
And because of the hard surface, that's not the case.
Well, the track's 20 years old.
Yeah,
You can't get a warranty longer than 7 years on
We could
the
get
field.
schools
Right,
to
yeah, yeah.
well, we turned them off, we stayed late. I told them to turn it off at 6:15 and we came out at 6:30. So I tell you what, Charlie, why don't we go to the others and then we come back and take a look at it. They got a little bit, yeah, we'll go to yours. We'll come back.
Do all the high schools play on this?
I was gonna wear my coat like that, but I said it's gonna be chilly out here. I said I think I'll choose comfort over looks.
I understand. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Come on in.
Everybody was focused.
Are you kidding me? You got heat? Oh, man. Started the sidewalk. Just take a seat here. Hey, I got my seat. Hey, thank you. I need to get one.
And she has to leave in the sink.
Oh, we're gonna let Phil drive?
I'll trade you. You want to drive? Who was that? We'll get some CDLs right quick.
Yeah, we are hiring right now, as always.
So are these normal school buses for our kids? They don't have seatbelts on them? Or do they have seatbelts on them?
No, they don't have seatbelts. This
Not the big one.
is a big bus. Yeah, they don't.
I was telling him, I said, this is my first time ever riding a school bus, so,
Really?
yeah, yes.
I have find that hard to believe. Really?
I told my kids, I was like, I'm riding a school bus for the first time.
The special transportation buses have seatbelts because in a lot of cases they really need to help keep them in the seat while they're driving and they're smaller. They passed a law that says that if the legislature comes up with the money, then you're going to have to put seatbelts in all buses.
But the legislature,
extremely expensive
but
option.
that,
Yeah, obviously.
but that if the legislature comes up with money,
They obviously
was
didn't.
our Sarah Winkler going to the legislature and getting them to add that at the last minute.
Wow.
Otherwise, we were going to have to spend tens of thousands of dollars per bus to try and outfit them with
Yep, you
seatbelts.
have to put in.
3-point harness. Yeah. And you have buses that don't have the floorboard to hold the bolts. It would have been, and then plus you're going to lose seat capacity because you can't put the 3 of those in a seat.
Oh, yeah.
So elementary kids, all of a sudden you've lost seat space.
Because you only can put 2 in a seat.
Yep.
There is a 3 seatbelt configuration that requires replacement of the entire seat
Wow.
and the belt and the floor substructure. It's extremely expensive.
Yeah, that's cost prohibitive all the way around. But these are comfy. These aren't too bad.
No, this is one of our finest ones.
I can ride around in
This
this.
is a 2012. Going in here, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Look this here. The line is clear. I can see that.
Now remember, this is the oldest campus. That when this first opened, I think I'm going to tell you, I hope this says it.
You're asking yourself, Charles.
Yeah, this school is the Alief Elementary. Our high school started back here where the warehouse is, and then soon moved into Alief Middle School, which was called Alief High School first, before they built Hastings, okay, and then Ollie at the same time. Ollie Middle School was under construction. Alief Middle School didn't become a middle school until Hastings opened up, okay, and then at the same time they were building Ollie, they were already trying to start building Kilo because in that time we'd built like 5 elementaries after Ewens. So Ewens was the groundbreaker, and then it was a short little period and everybody said, uh-oh, here come the kids, and so they just started building like crazy.
I'm
So
the superintendent's office here.
Wow.
yeah, 64, yeah.
None of us were born then. So
No.
what those times were like, right?
Watch your step, please.
Speaks for yourself, huh?
Yeah, right?
Thank you.
Every school has alarm systems, burglar alarms, cameras. When you walk in the door, they're capturing video. So they're high tech too.
Okay.
The original, you know?
Where's your mom?
Seems like it's wide open.
Yeah. Skylighting system. Great place. Okay, so as you can see, one of the big differences is you can see some of the traditional brick that we all know, but then look at that glazed, I want to call it cinder block,
Yeah.
structured glazed block. At that time, that was the type of construction that was going on. There's steel in here. This is a steel structure, but that kind of brick right there, you can't beat it. I mean, I would love it if we had that in every school because kids can write on it and everything. And we can clean it.
Can't afford it.
It's very difficult to run cable, like when you're trying to put network drops or electrical outlets. You end up having to run conduit on the surface of the wall, and so it's very difficult to add to the school. But it
None of this
makes.
was here in the 60s.
Yeah, the original building.
This was all built in the 80s, I think, late 80s.
This
The original
section,
building is
yeah.
down there, yeah.
So let's go down to the one thing that this school is unique about is because it was an add-on that continued to grow. It had a certain size cafeteria, library, and so forth. And the library is in this building is the smallest in all of our elementaries. So let's just kind of go down.
And we had the second most kids in the district. That's what we're talking about.
So how old is that tile, Charles, that's over here? This tile?
This tile and this tile, this is Terrazzo is original.
64.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these walls are original.
The original
See,
entrance is down
you
here.
don't see this very often either, these transom style windows.
Jim Healy used to walk past here and look in.
He could.
I think Jim will next time.
Schools from this era.
Yes, Lynn, yes.
But there's nothing, I love this school, there's nothing.
Mine had all those windows, because it'd be possible. Still, we would have been silly. But, I mean, obviously, we need to run cabling.
How you doing?
The floor says, caution wet floor.
After hours in.
Morning. Well, because we didn't say the sun was clearly there.
So if this is as old as it gets, okay, I want to point out, there's been drop ceilings put in places, there's been expansions and renovations throughout the years. The AC for the most part in the school was done.
We got one phase left in this.
6 years ago. Yeah. So if this is as bad as it gets as far as our facilities, which I think really besides our Alief Learning Center, which we bought, used to be a hospital, this is the oldest. We're going to take you to another school. The construction style's changed. The reason I love this school is all these hard walls in here. When we see this next school, you're going to see what using vinyl walls and carpeting, what those types of things do after you have 20 years or 30 years of kids pounding on it. Okay, it's a whole different style construction.
Teacher stapling in the wall.
Yeah, stapling, it's just not, just thousands and thousands. I mean, it could be, that elementary alone could have had 25,000 students through it since it was built. It's just a lot of traffic, okay? So, Ewan's has the smallest library. You'll see most of the libraries are twice this size. And with 1,000+ kids in this elementary, that's not subject to change to 600 or 700 next year. We have probably 5 elementaries that are approaching 1,000 or more students. So, but we have a couple elementaries based on zones that are in the 500 to 600 student range. But Alief has always built schools for that kind of a size for elementary. We've never built the subdivision style 400, 500 student elementary. Huntington Village was a start when they built Kennedy, it was intended, but then as Huntington Village sprawled and how fast the district was moving, campuses like Kennedy, which was the 7th elementary, actually had additions to it. So most of the elementaries that were built in the first 10 actually had several additions put on each one of them, Ewan's being one of them, that we've added back. So very popular school. The downtown Alief community loves it. I mean, they don't want to go anywhere else. They house the bilingual program students from Chancellor Elementary and Outley Elementary. They don't want to go home if they don't have to. They'd rather, they love the school. So from that standpoint, very popular school. And Are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
It's solid. It's a base. It's a foundation. I mean, part of it's the age and the year. And
Well, we love this library in the sense that it's very whimsical. You know, I mean, those of you that are from, like, my generation, this is the library I grew up in. You know, I was in elementary school in the 60s. So this is it. But this is not 21st century by any stretch of the imagination for today's students. And for our staff, you can see we have 4 computers in here.
Yeah, don't let those confuse you.
Those are being those are our new computers.
That's a work,
That's actually
that's
a
a
work
staging
area.
area. It's a staging area. That many computers aren't here.
So we only have 4 computers for our kids to use, and that's a problem. We're not wireless in any capacity at all. The cinder block walls don't help with that, but it's something that is hopefully in the future. But we also don't have any type of large group instructional area in this entire campus.
when I have staff meetings, I have over 100 staff members. It is very difficult to meet in here. There's just no place for us to meet as a staff for any type of professional development except for the cafeteria. And if you sat at cafeteria tables for long periods of time, that is very thankless. And I have staff members who are 22 and staff members who are 72. And we have knee problems. We have lots of pregnant people around here. All this, and the point being that this could be so repurposed for such other, other uses. That was my input to Charles and HD Chambers was we can repurpose as an LGI for student use, for staff use, and create another.
So Alief,
Yeah.
Alief as a district is very unique in that we're one of the very few that based on how fast we grew, land we had, decisions that were made in the 60s and 70s that have two double 5A high schools right adjacent to each other. Hastings and Elsick. That's why we have the lottery system as far as the draw or whatnot, is that's the way it happened. It happened so fast, the growth at that time, and they decided to build Elsick right next door to Hastings, that literally there weren't enough open classrooms fast enough to house the kids. So if you look at it from that standpoint, we have Alief Middle School, Ewens Elementary, Crossroads Facility, the two ninth grade centers, Hastings and Elsick, all in this one block area. There's over 12,000 kids trying to get to school in the morning and leave in the afternoon in this one block area. So it's a huge traffic orchestra to make it happen and not have more accidents and so forth. So the nice thing about Ewens and AMS are, because they were the first two schools, they have shared property here that makes it easy to, they have a gym in the back, so that was add-on. We have the ability to have portable buildings out here to help the capacity on the building until we make boundary changes, but there are possibilities in this area to have a shared facility because the two high schools are just literally across the street, and we have the middle school and the elementary are all right here. So when I say think outside the box, when it comes to CTE, we're think, what do we need? What does the district need in order to move forward that is not necessarily just one campus or specific, I want this or I want that. What's something that everybody can use as part of the district, and where's the best place to have it? Ms. Trent knows from this building what she needs, but some of her needs may help a lot of kids more outside of Ewens too. So, all right.
Because we're centrally located, other high school staff members, central office can utilize meeting rooms here too, because we have district meetings that.
Yeah, so it could
it's
be
a great place. It's very centrally located.
Her problems get solved by having a meeting center that all their staff can go to. That's right next door, or a resource center. We used to have a resource center in our Crossroads facility the teachers all went to, where they could have large group meeting rooms and all, but we ended up using that for our DAEP program. So anyway, so let's bus up and head down to the next school if we could, and Hearn.
Okay, so for this tender wheel, is that something that we built separately afterwards?
Yes,
So
okay.
that's one of the additions that we have?
Every elementary and every intermediate school, with the exception of 6, if I remember right, received a classroom addition since 2003. In 2007, we stopped building 8 classroom additions because we had way more seats in all the schools than we had students, and we weren't growing anymore. Okay. So it seemed pointless to spend tax dollars on building floor space that was going to sit empty.
Right.
Okay? And we actually went back and built one more because we had a kind of a population boom. But other than that, in the elementaries, they were built as kindergarten centers that could house full-day kindergarten, because we went full-day kindergarten at the same time. Okay? And so they have small toilets and built in the rooms, and they're geared to have all the kindergarten together. In the intermediate schools, they're just additional classrooms, and so every school's used them differently. But some buildings, based on the size of the property and everything, they weren't a separate building. They're just attached to the outside like an addition. Okay, Sneed has it on the back side of the building. It's an addition. Martin is built onto Martin. But Ewan's has it just to the west. It's that building in the front. Most have put all of their kinder in there. Some have more kinder than can fit in there, so they still have some in the main building. Okay. If we go further in pre-K and early childhood, that's going to be a need. And the state's talking like that Texas is really falling behind. So if they come up with dollars for pre-K programs and boosting those pre-K programs to other students other than just ESL students, more than likely we will have to have additional space in some parts of the district. Now, it's impossible for us to forecast that as part of this committee. That's just another looming thing out there that even statewide there's not enough facilities to enhance early childhood pre-K the way it needs to be. It needs to be every kid can go all day.
Right, kindergarten, right.
Yeah. All right?
Hey, Charles,
Yeah.
wanted to, we can look at it.
She's still what?
Yeah. Do you have any small bedrooms? Oh, they'll back out now. The windows in their classroom.
They're all in here. We don't have any in the classroom.
Okay. One room down, but that's, we don't have to, that's just an example of how inadequate they are.
It's
Okay. Okay.
Are the classrooms in here large enough? What you need?
So the classroom's large enough? Our classroom sizes are actually good. Yeah. No, that's one of the ones, but this one does.
By contrast, I was at Lamar High School. I know Lamar's in that kind of school. They've got these classrooms built for 15 students.
Oh, yeah.
And they're packing 30 or 40 in there now.
High school.
Well, and we actually have, I think our classrooms are bigger.
These are bigger than a lot they
These are
do
the original
Lamar.
1964.
Thank you.
It's there, that's the toilet right there. That, for that,
Right here.
yeah.
You can imagine
This is pre-K.
a handicapped person of any age trying to use that facility.
So then that needs to be brought up to ADA
Well, we
standards?
would probably have to build new restrooms somewhere else in the
Central
building
restroom.
and abandon these.
Right.
But, you know, that's part of their restroom capacity is in.
That little
And
closet
these
one,
are in
yeah.
our PPCD and our life skills classrooms, which is our preschool program for children with disabilities. And maybe some of those kids are in wheelchairs, and they can't.
Some of our gang restrooms that all the kids share, that have multiple facilities inside each restroom, those are the ones that we've had to go in and say it's not enough for the amount of students, or it's absolutely it's not made for anybody in a wheelchair. Period. It just
Well, yeah, I
isn't.
mean, that's not even wide enough, it's not even, you
Yeah.
know, per building code, so.
So we're slowly but surely trying to address those. But one thing Ewens has done great on is technology. I mean, we've made
Smart board.
leaps and bounds in the last, with the ARA funds that we received, and to Nancy's credit, I think, how many classrooms?
Every
don't have
classroom
it?
in the building.
Okay.
Every classroom has a whiteboard.
That's-
Even PPCD, except for like some of the music and PE and, but everybody in the entire building from pre-K to 5th grade has a smart board. And a light pros either hanging from the ceiling or it's up like that.
And that in elementary makes more difference than it ever did in a secondary school. Those little kids just eat it up because of it's.
Touchable.
They teach the teachers
Yeah.
how to use them.
Yeah.
Right.
And you bundle it with the little clickers
It's very
too.
engaging.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a process.
Yeah, I've got to go to Lane, so, and she's all about. Tell me how that's even.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, what do you want for Christmas?
A whiteboard, yeah.
We can go, yeah, this way.
Oh, yeah, I already have it. She's in 3rd grade. She's like, would you carry a laptop and an iPad and an iPhone? And who works tonight?
Yeah, I think we got a layaway for years.
Now, if you'll notice while we were walking out, this building has all manual light switches. You know, there was a certain point when we, in building code, where everything had to be automatic. We upgraded the lights, but we have a number of buildings that don't have automatic sensors, so you have to remember to turn the lights on.
You have to pay to turn the switch. You get one of those with the, slide on.
Yeah. Charles, did you see our autographed Gary Johnson football?
All good.
All right, you got the seat warmers on. Come here.
I got the heater going now.
My old knees not working for me like they used to.
Yeah, okay. He's talking about it.
It's actually really weird too. Come on. Oh, I'm telling you. I will tell Miss Parker she'll get this someday. Yeah.
Don't lock them in this classroom. Turn on the alarm. Oh, that's true. My principal is known for that. Mr. Baldwin, can you please get out of the school at Landis? I'm locking the alarm on. In here or not.
You want to on that?
That's it, right? Yeah.
I usually put Rick in charge of doing my head.
Everybody's here.
Off the Hearn?
Hearn it is.
Do you have a preference of?
Let's go through the best drive and let's, by the mechanical yard.
Over here.
Right, Rick?
Yeah.
We're going through the back?
Yes, sir.
Right at the end of the bus drive that you go in is the mechanical yard entrance. You can just park it right there.
When was the stadium built?
72?
72?
Oh, there's our lights. All right, all right. Very unique. Another unique idea about Alief. We have one pool.
Right.
We only have one pool in the whole district?
This is it right here. The natatorium is the one swimming pool for the whole district.
Wow.
You know, districts like Katy build one natatorium for every high school. Very expensive to build and maintain. So for swimming class, kids are actually brought over here to this one location.
So do we have swimming classes for all students or only for those that
High
are
school.
Oh.
High school, all three high schools. We have several shared programs like that. Career Tech, we have buses going back and forth between Taylor and Kerr and Elsa Mason. For those different period changes where they go over here for that class and go back. How many shuttle buses you got running all day, Phil?
We run about a dozen at any given time. When we run them in the morning, we run them before dismissal. In the afternoons, throughout the day.
How's the time allocated to compensate for the distance and travel between classes?
That's a good question. It's usually the class that they're coming to gets cheated from the time.
Okay.
Because, but in reality, they're always going to be either late to their next class, or they've cheated too much time off of here because the traffic time between here and Taylor could be 15 minutes.
Right.
And there's just not enough time in a 7-period day to make that happen. So when it's CTE program, a career and tech program, we try to go, when they come over here, to take a whole afternoon or a whole morning in a row of those classes so that they're not traveling over for one period and coming back.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
The swim class is usually the last class of the day.
Okay.
So when they get over here,
they're just going
they're
home.
swimming on into practice time.
Okay.
Then you have some that show up and practice in the morning. They're not actually taking the class; they're just on the swim team. So they'll practice outside of the school day and still be on the team.
Okay.
Kind of like tennis does that too. You have kids that play tennis that they don't actually have an athletic period.
Oh, they don't?
No, I mean most do, but you have kids that don't because they're good in tennis and they're taking too many academics. They don't have time to allocate a period for athletics in junior, senior year.
Okay.
It's just the way that we've kind of been held in high school to having this so many minutes in a day and 180 days in a year, and you can't get it all done anymore. From when I was in school in the 80s, the requirements are just phenomenal how it's grown. I mean, if you wanted to be in a career tech program, like a welding or auto or something like that, nursing, you have to take so many classes that with the 4x4 it says you have to take 4 math, 4 science, 4 social studies, and 4 language arts. You have like 2 electives to play with.
Wow.
There's just no way to do it anymore.
Right.
They killed CTE or career tech. So that's what all the superintendents around the state are starting to just hammer the legislature and say, this is impossible. You can't make kids career ready. All you can do is make them college ready or not college ready if they can't make it.
Right.
Basically, it's forcing a whole bunch of kids that who never wanted to go to college and aren't going to go to college to say, we're going to make you fail, and then you can just fall by the wayside.
Right.
So I think everybody's thinking along the right line, saying creating some programs that kids can actually step right out of high school and make some really good money. I mean, you got auto techs that are working. We got kids that are working for Toyota, Sterling McCall, and are going to step out of high school and make really good wages, starting salaries between the 40s and 50s.
Wow.
High school diploma.
Wow.
We got nurses assistants. We got pharmacy techs. All of which have some level of certification or quasi-certification that they can build on. They'd still go back to college if they want
right.
to, yes. At least you're not walking out as, well, I didn't make it into college program, so here I am with nothing.
Right.
So that's kind of the way high school's changed in 20 years. And I think it was really during the Bush era. It was like, we need to get kids more ready for college, more kids ready for college, and so they made it so difficult. You can't physically get the classes you need unless you go to night school. And we got kids that, were dropouts during that time. And subsequently, we had the night school we started, and try to get kids to come back and get those credits and graduate,
Right.
Because you've got to realize some kids they got caught in that window where they weren't college material, not saying that they couldn't, but they made up their mind, parents made up their mind, the kid ain't going to college, he's going to go to work or whatever.
Right.
And he's going to go work with dad, and therefore, you know what, Algebra 2 just wasn't that important.
Exactly, right.
I mean, for instance, the maintenance department, we can't hire. There are not enough licensed plumbers, licensed electricians, and licensed HVAC repairmen. We can't hire. We've been advertising. We pay well. We've been advertising for 3 years straight, solid. Can't get enough of them.
Wow.
They just America quit putting them out. If a kid doesn't want to go do it on his own and learn the whole thing,
It's just not
It just
happening.
doesn't happen. Consequently, you got a lot of non-certified people building buildings and construction
I was just about to say,
homes, and
not to code.
can't pass code, and yeah, it's a mess. They're giving up on all the real trades that were part of building this country.
Skilled labor, right?
Yeah. Doesn't mean you're never going to go to college. Just means, hey, you got a job you can go do right now. You know?
Right.
Get productive.
Okay, Charles, so whenever you say under budget savings, 35, does that money get put back into like general fund? Or what does that mean?
No, just in the bond funds, and they spend it on other projects, yeah. So that was an estimated savings that we had from the previous year, that we, instead it was going to cost $35,000 more, and now for one reason or another, we're not doing it, or it actually came in cheaper.
So how do y'all bid out the capital projects? Do y'all have like a list of approved vendors, or do y'all?
Every capital project, for the most part, is either bid as a single project with a true bid, or we'll lump 3 or 4 things together in like coolers and freezers and bid all of them as one big package.
And then y'all bid it out like countywide, or y'all just bid it out?
No, it's advertised in the paper.
Okay, so it's
true,
open for
full, open bid.
Right,
And that's why sometimes we way overestimate the cost.
right.
Like during the recession, 2009, 2010, we were getting 30% better prices because people were so hungry.
Yeah, that's what we're.
And we had our money from the president was pushing those funds. No, it was like, we got such great deals on projects.
Oh, I'm sure for tiling and roofs and all those things. That was a good time to do the roofs.
So,
Y'all did roofs.
we did $32 million worth of projects in 2 summers.
Wow. And I'm sure had you waited 2 years before, it would have cost you at least 3 times that.
We'd have gotten a third or half as much. And consequently, we got a lot of vendors that love us for not slowing down at that time. I mean, we saved them basically. You know,
they were small businesses.
Yeah, some of those roofers to this day know that there were a couple of summers that they would have went under had it not been for schools.
So I committed to getting prices on it, putting it into a phase project.
We can go in right here, Phil, if you just want to.
Maybe over the next 3 years, we'll get all the classrooms with
Hey Rick, can we go through the gym and go to the mechanical room?
Yeah, let me get down the custodian there. I just saw her there.
Anyway, well, that's...
I'm not very far. For the weekend, for this game.
Making under 35 grand for the project. That's a huge.
Old Rick, that's the whole Rick. Old Yeller. We are Yeller. Ali. Way back.
way back to 1981.
Yeah. 80 for me. 1980.
It looks so small.
Complicated information.
Boil it down.
Try. It's been everywhere.
Most of the schools built in the 80s were built similar to this style. And so we'll take just a quick tour through the hallway, but we have this split curtain situation. We have a gym and a cafeteria that can be combined into one big room. This kind of a rubber floor that we've replaced on a lot of schools. This one was done when?
About the year before last, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
And then what's the life term on these? Wear and tear on them.
This was original when we didn't actually replace it, we just topped it.
Oh, topped.
So it.
20 years plus.
And some places we've got problems where moisture gets underneath and they actually bubble up and then we have to cut them out and everything. But, it's about 20 years is what we're looking at.
So this was polyurethane floor originally, and then you topped it with.
Right. compatible material. We play basketball.
This is 87.
Just one quick order, look at some classrooms.
Probably Gene. Did you go to school? Are you schooling in Alief?
Yeah.
What elementary did you go to?
I went to Petrosky Elementary.
Okay. Mahaney's on. Looking at
Okay.
it. This reminds me of elementary.
Right.
This is about the same, this is very close to the same time as Mahaney, Reese,
Right beside it,
Heflin, Chancellor.
Oh, I didn't think she just said that.
Folks would go to O'Donnell, so we got all that TV. We thought we were upstairs already.
Right.
They're right over that banner.
What other name is it?
You remember they brought a Russian, group of Russians in?
Yeah.
And they had it on the news to show off what was going on at O'Donnell when it opened.
And we had a lot. We were in a meeting.
It was a
because at that
world-
time we had like a lot of state. Are we going on intercom? All the
Okay.
announcements and stuff.
What I want to show you down through here, we're going to walk through a couple of these classrooms, but if you look down the hallway, this is a carpeted elementary. But these are sheetrock walls, okay? Big difference.
They can stay through all their.
Sheetrock wall with vinyl covering on the top, okay? If you look, right at about little elementary kids' height, you can see where they've been walking on doing this all day long. In a single file line. And so once a year, the custodians have to come in here and just really work to get the dirt off. And then every so often, we have to replace all this vinyl. And
Yeah, vinyl's probably 7 to 10 years. You wind up having to.
So that's a whole different mentality of maintaining a facility from the Ewens era. These are soft surfaces, okay?
But Nancy will tell you how much, in terms of the hard surfaces, they're great to maintain, but they're noisier, they're disruptive, they can't put things on the walls like we can.
Yeah, we had to buy bulletin boards for everybody's exterior.
So there's pros and cons each way.
Teachers want to go to student work on it.
Right.
You can't tape it on those walls, the humidity, it comes down over the weekend.
So you had to buy boards to put up there. You had to spend more funds.
We have these beautiful boards.
We put these walls in within the last 10 years at all the elementaries. Before that, we had open concept in Alief. You'd walk in here and you'd see all the classes of students, all one big classroom, if you will, where they're huddled in the corners for their class. But then when we went back and put these walls, they're not closed in to where they're sealed like a classroom with a door and everything, but it effectively kills that noise from traveling back and forth. So that was done in all of our elementaries at one.
4, 5,
I
and
think-
6. 4, 5, and 6.
Was it 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, 3 separate projects, but did the whole district, so. But other than that, when you get inside the classroom, an elementary school in Alief is pretty much an elementary. You see a lot of the same things as far as the way they set the rooms up and depending on the age level. Very similar. This one actually has a nicer restroom.
Wow.
Much more spacious.
Hit the jackpot. This is great.
Try to create a little more visual.
I'm sure it's all kindergarten. The less distraction, the better.
We're going to go by the library and see kind of the difference between what we saw earlier. Yeah.
I mean, there's no windows in the classrooms, or it's all closed off.
Right.
I do love the windows and so much in the classrooms.
Yeah. You've got this whole transom style window at the top too, which
Right.
makes it
Right.
hold it
Even though they don't see
feel
the outside, they still.
natural like it's smooth.
Yeah.
That's all right. This is a nice one. Oh, yeah.
It's already open.
Great person, great person.
So the big difference in this library, besides the books and stuff, some of our libraries have that little kiva, where that's an elevated area where they can have study time. But most libraries have a half lab or a full computer lab built into them. Over the years, they've kind of migrated to that too. So this is a good example. So if you look at the difference between this one and Ewan's, and this, they don't use this as a large group instruction. They have space for it, but the big difference being, if you look at the number of bookshelves and the number of books in this library, there's more here. And then they have a huge office area for the nurse, the librarian and the aide, and also where all the materials are kept. They check out their audiovisual.
And so does this school have the kinder, it was over there, so it's its own?
It has its own kinder wing too,
right.
yeah.
This is just like Reese.
This is identical to Reese.
Reese, Heflin,
Alexander?
go for it.
Okay, mechanical.
What was this space designed for?
We have a special instructor there.
Yeah, they used to take kids up there. And that was,
When I taught here, they would have classes up there and stuff.
They get their
I mean, just for
attention.
fun, you take kids up there to read.
Kids would be in the
Yeah.
These are little independent study rooms. You can put 2 or 3 kids in there, and or they could sit with one student and try and get one-on-one instruction. They're like little mini classrooms.
The design is just like Reese. They say get to work. They don't normally be up here at night. Everybody look busy.
Turn the ESPN off the phone.
Right. How you doing? Man, normally we'd be sleeping.
Yeah. Mr. Woods is here. Mr. Woods is here.
Go ahead, man. Thank you.
Going into the bowels of the school. So this is the main electrical panels coming in from the school and circuit breakers versus 25, 30-year-old technology. It's all original. This is the chillers for the air conditioning, furnace. So when they have a problem with one of these, maintenance has to be able to work on all these different old parts and find old parts somewhere in the country.
In fact, this school is the only one in the district. It actually, outside here, we actually have a wooden cooling tower. You know, it's the only one left, and we actually had to rebuild part of it this summer because it had gotten so deteriorated, it was just literally almost falling down. So when we redo the school, we're scheduled somewhere in the 13, 14 range, probably 14, 15 at this point. All of this will come out, all new high-efficiency equipment. We'll probably go to air-cooled instead of water-cooled, which is a different technology. And then we'll have much higher efficiencies in terms of the air conditioning. We'll bring the school up to code with regards to the fresh air that's supposed to be brought in for air changes per hour and things like that. So this is a typical, and when ductwork is changed out,
Thought it was a problem.
this is typical when we talk about a major HVAC $2 million job. All the electrical service, all of the HVAC equipment comes out.
But you also look at it and go, for 25 years of maintaining it, we get our money. I mean, we maintain our stuff, so we're not like, it's not like we have to, after 10 years, toss it and buy something new. So, and then what maintenance does is they take, on a school like this, as we were going through and replacing them, if they find a unit here, or we've got one at Reese, throw this thing out behind maintenance and let's save it for parts until we get to Reese, you know?
Right.
So, because they're all different brands and models as we built schools so quickly, different technologies. These have McQuay, we use Train, Carrier, York, all different kinds of equipment. So this is what an old mechanical room looks like that's going to be gone and redone in a couple of years. So one of the last few holdouts.
So when you see those long-range plans, those $2 million jobs, something like that, that's at the school like this, and we've done several of them
We'll get
already.
all this and replace all the ductwork throughout the ceilings all the way through.
And then all the chilled water piping too.
The air, that, the better zone.
Right, so they can pinpoint down to rooms and say, oh, let's close that one down a little bit and make it a little warmer. And that's all tied in with data point networks where, for maintenance, they can actually on a computer map zone in and say, this little room right here, we want to make it warmer. We want to make this one cooler. They can control it. So it's like it's every bit as big as our data network for our computers.
This older technology controls that tells us unit to run and how much air they need in the classroom are actually over pneumatic lines. There's an air compressor back over there. It was all done with air pressure that's sent through these little lines about that big around, and they push and open, close valves to tell whether how much water, hot water, cold water let into the system. All that comes out and it all becomes electronic. It's like computer based. It's all digital. We can see it from our office, tell exactly, we can read temperatures in every room. We can say, well, we want to increase the chilled water in this room to 2 degrees to warm up the space. Whereas now we have to rely on an air compressor back here to push air through here. Over the years, those lines become brittle, they crack, they leak air. And so we have problems controlling sometimes. We can't get a valve open because we don't have the air pressure to even open anymore.
And you got to go send somebody to manually open or close it.
Or we go looking through the walls and listen for hissing sounds in the walls so we can catch it too.
So how many schools do we have still left with pneumatic controls, which is what you're do we have like 10?
I was about to say a dozen probably.
They're all going to be this age school.
Yeah, all sort of everything in that category. Yeah, that year group.
Upper right. All right.
You guys want the same way? Back to the gym.
Pretty cool, some of the
They might not remember how to.
I
sure lost it.
So we have a problem.
Thank you.
Hola María, que le pase buenas noches y por favor no se ponga muy
When my daughter was at Reese, she used to say the gym was so cold that there was snow.
Charles, I was going to ask you, if we were going to replace our curtains, is that something that we could do with our local budget, or is that something we do with the capital? What is this procedure if we wanted to?
Put it in as a capital request.
Okay.
During that capital window.
During that window in the spring?
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is, I want this one to do that. Put
Everybody's on.
Yep, you're good.
See Rick? Bigger? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he's good.
Back to Advil?
That's it. To the front. Right where you started.
You're walking on that downtown. It is not fun. But it is well worth it.
Okay, so we're gonna go back and look at Crump. But did y'all see anything that looked like it was falling down? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
The age of the mechanical? Yeah. And the efficiency of the mechanical. That's one thing we see every time we do an HVAC upgrade is that we save a lot of money in electricity.
Right. So that money gets dumped back into the general fund.
And these buildings, even though they were built a long time ago, for the most part, are pretty good envelopes for air. High schools, not so much. They're just so huge and so many doors. But the elementaries are fairly good envelopes for air conditioning. It's just that the mechanical systems were so under-designed for the building at the time because of the code requirements that it's a big difference when you start pumping a bunch more fresh air in there and you open the amount of air that comes in. So each one of them has to be increased in size and capacity for that. So we still see savings. It's just not as drastic as you would think. Because at the same time, we're cooling probably, what do you say, Jeff? Twice, 3 times the amount of fresh air?
Yeah, because we're bringing the fresh air that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
It helps with the CO2 levels in the classroom, helps with everybody's cognizance and ability to stay awake.
Yeah.
Do you know we get 5 years technology difference between 87 and 5 years?
So Charles, once we save the money on the electricity, does it go back into the general fund as a whole, or do we go back and take that money and save it for that school and reapply it to that school?
It's just in the big general fund pot that goes towards raises, salaries,
Stipends, is that what that stipend going to?
yeah, supplies that year, whatever. So, like for instance, in the last 2 years, we've saved about $2 million in electricity. Based on changing run schedules, making custodial quit the day at 7 o'clock and shutting down air conditioning systems, and also having everybody consider turning off the lights and being more cognizant about that than ever before. And saying, hey, if we can save more money, it just means more that we can do with the dollars that we have. So everybody's pitching in and, you know, killing lights and doing what they can, but at the same time, we're able to get our electricity contract locked in at a few cents cheaper per kilowatt hour too. So all those things combined save a lot. Roof systems have been, a lot of the roofs have been redone and have that reflective white coating on the top, which helps. Yeah, more insulation, yeah. Yeah, we did. That's the one thing we found was that there really wasn't, and we came to the conclusion at the time that we're just not in the business to be an electricity provider. You need really, in order to not get burned on that, you really have to have somebody that can foresee which of those technologies are going to have a long life, especially the batteries, because the batteries don't last. So if you're not able to feed it directly back to the grid and not use it, store and use it yourself, you're really not saving a whole lot. And the ones that really save the money are the ones that have huge amounts of solar panels and can immediately push it back to the grid. And the amount of solar panels, like for instance, we looked at Taylor High School, we'd have to cover the entire roof of the building and the detention pond and a good portion between the field house and the practice fields in order to store up enough to run during the day. We'd still have to supplement. So we wouldn't even get to a point of supplementing the grid, get paid for it, if you will.
So would we not get those tax saving dollars for going solar and going green, making our schools green?
You would, but here's the problem. The problem comes into the battery life on those things is roughly 10 years. And so that's, at this point in time, that's the biggest part of the cost. The panels have come down in price so cheap, and the copper wiring that's required to tie it back to the center point is all on us. We have to buy all that. And copper's the most expensive it's ever been.
You also have to coordinate that installation with the roof.
With the roof, right. Roof and chillers almost to get it automated, to get the school automated.
Right. So, yeah, we've looked into it, and it just comes down to, I don't think school districts have the expertise to make it viable, and every consultant out there right now is in the, they're going to get their money up front in the project, and you're left to deal with it. And anything that we do that costs that kind of money, we've got to see at least a 20-year replacement on it, or we just can't. We can't sink that kind of dollar, even if it's Fed dollars, you know, because we're going to have to buy the batteries the next round.
Right.
And the replacement panels, and have the staff to service it.
Yeah.
I have a couple of solar panels, at my house that I'm testing, because I want to automate my Nest. I have Nest in my house, the new one that's out. So I've got some, I have some solar panels, and it's starting to work, but it's barely enough to really see the savings on it. You know what I mean? For right now. So I'm like, okay, I'm totally right. I'll give you another year or so before I'm like switching back.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do pay more in upfront installation costs.
You do more benefit with electricity
Just reducing
with behavior than you do with anything else. Yeah. You use it like on the electricity on the HVAC systems. You go with the new Freon and all that, and yeah, it's more efficient. The SEER ratings on those are better for homes, but ultimately, if you're going to keep it at 73 degrees in the middle of summer,
you're
going to pay.
Yeah, right. You're still not saving any money.
Yeah.
But the one thing I like about the Nest is that it actually is learning, like how we're here at home and how we're not here at home, because we connected that with our AC. So like when I turn on the alarm, turn it off, then all of a sudden it'll say no one's home, and it'll bring the temperature. So we're not using as much. But then the problem is sometimes it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like you'll come back inside my couch, temperature change today, I came home, 2 meetings in, the air conditioner was on, but it's 60 degrees. You know what I mean? So they haven't got the technology completely up-to-date yet with automated.
Every installation is a fine art.
Right.
And like I said, once they install it, they're not there to help you tweak all that.
Yeah, just put it in.
Next few years, yeah.
And so how about like us doing like recycle? Do we recycle paper and stuff like that?
We recycle every material that we can. Aluminum, cardboard, paper, and plastics. And all the years that we've done it, when you look back on it and say, revenue and expense, we break even. So basically we're keeping all that CO2 out of the air, we're saving all this stuff from the landfill, but at the same time, we're not making anything. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's not because we're not making a dime. But we're not losing money either.
We recycle at the high school too. We have recycled company. And then imagine the paper.
Oh, right.
It's break even. It's just because it's an earth club, it just break even. They don't make any money with all the things that they do, printing the signs and making teachers for the kids and doing things. We don't make any money off of it. You would think that you would with all the paper.
Right, just the paper alone should be enough. And so who do you guys use? What's management, or you use someone else for recycling?
Our nutrition department does it. They have a little staff in a truck. They go around and they have a baler that crushes everything.
Well, that's good. And yes, you are saving money that way because if you went through like waste management, you spend more contracts.
Well, hopefully they would pay you to pick it up.
They don't.
So we tried.
You were pushing it last.
I'm pushing. I already talked about it.
How much is the ticket?
Is there $1 buy-in?
Yes, you put your little name and the price and I'm drawing them out on announcements Wednesday. It just goes for, here you go.
What year did you graduate?
92.
92.
You're the best. Here you go. I'll tell some.
I actually was in 92. I was working in Katy. I came back in 93.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started here. Started in Katy in 88. Went to Alief in 89. Left in 92 or 93 and came back to Alief.
We appreciate this.
And I'm sorry, went to Katy, then came back to Alief in 96 and been here since then.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been back and forth between the two. I know them real well. I'd rather be here. You know, that's why I say there's other districts that don't do near the amount of work that we do with the money, looking out for the taxpayer that we do here. And we got stuff to be proud of, you know? It's not like it's junk.
I was thinking myself, I was like, the buildings look very well kept to be so old. I mean, my wife works in HISD, and I'm like, just the comparison in the buildings, even in the similarity of ages, you can just
Did they get remember that elementary where the roof actually collapsed over the holidays?
Yeah.
Caved in on them? I mean, there wasn't anybody in it, but we don't have anything like that. You know, that's just abuse or neglect.
Right.
All right, if we still got the lights, we'll just dart into the stadium real quick and then we'll go.
You're welcome.
I was about to sleep on the bus. Sleep?
You and all the kindergartners.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the kids, that's right.
Thank you.
Bill, thank you, buddy.
Hey, anytime.
Thank you much. Hey, I'm going to head on. All right. Thank you. Even lower.
That's great.
Even lower during the week.
I love this. It's super exciting.
Yeah, you really?
We all just love it. Well, my try back to Westfield wants that game Thursday. People come back.
I don't know if I want to go all the way out there.
It's my old,
Yeah, you got no kind of picture.
old stuff around.
Yeah. Very old, very abrasive.
Oh yeah, old times. This is nice. This is nice. Years of tradition right here, baby. 50-yard line at Crump State. This is nice. This is beautiful.
We've always got more money for it, not just one done thing. This is 10 years. The track is 20 years surface. Yeah. I mean, we've got.
It's time.
If you take that down, per dollar amount per year, we paid $25,000 a year to have that track. We paid $70,000 a year to have this field. So it's just that you buy it all at one shot, bam. Yeah. And then, but the cost is very inexpensive when you think about it overall. Plus, we're not getting the use out of it. We could, if soccer could play on it, and if we Walter Heinz and relays would do the size they used to do when we get on the track. Well, we've got kids.
What you know about Hastings? This is like let me see something. End zone, baby. Thank you.
Enjoying yourself on the field, huh, sweetheart?
Yeah, it's my old stomping ground.
That's what they said. They put they put the AstroTurf down the year that you graduated.
Right.
You want to relive it, were you?
Yeah, I was.
You was having a little bit of a moment.
Trying to find my sweet spots.
Maybe the field needed some time alone, huh? So what kind of field was it when you were here?
It was turf, but it wasn't as good. It was more like brittle.
So did you play?
Mm-hmm.
What did you play?
I played wingback for Hastings.
All 4 years?
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't play my freshman year, so I played 3 years.
Same position all 3 years?
Mm-hmm. Well, I played running back for 2 years, and then I played wingback my senior year.
Well, I know both of them. Over there, you have
No, you're about the right size for a running back. Back then.
Right.
Guys nowadays, you see them when they pull them off the, track and field now.
Exactly.
Or a basketball court, like Jimmy Graham.
Right.
The tight end, I'm like,
They'll never get past the line. Well, when I was in school, it was West Block. Because I went to spring break junior high, and I was wondering if we get straight and branch back to what makes you. And I was 103, so that's like.
Thank you. Thank you.
If we were a better funded district, I'd say, yeah. When we compare to how we're funded,
A lot of my friends I graduated. Really,
That's right, yeah, no.
Are we going back yet?
this is all I had for this meeting tonight. Is that to make the order? Huh? We don't we have the next meeting scheduled for January 24th. Okay? Is everybody fine with that came tonight? If you think you're not going to be able to, let me know, and maybe I can still jockey it to where everybody can go. And I know 2 people volunteered to be on this who couldn't come tonight, who want to come to the next one. Just had conflicts that came up. So what my goal for you guys is if you can look at the list of things that we have scheduled in this long-range plan for this summer and beyond, and say, okay, we talked about some of those tonight, but here's some other things that I know we need to be considering, or it's just your pet peeve or your project that you said, you know what, the district's always, if you had vision enough to say, I want to be on the committee, then you have ideas, I know you do. So share them, and then we can talk them over as a group at the next meeting. And so if you would send them to me ahead of time, I can try and assemble them. I'll try to send out a tickler to everybody and say, give me your ideas. And then we meet again with the board with the long-range plan for adoption in March, which I'll have the next 12 months scheduled of what we're going to do. But we're also going to give them an update of here's kind of what people are coming up with, the things we need to look at. Not that they have to approve it, but at the same time, this is just another fact-finding mission to find things. This isn't the end-all list of things we need to do in the next 10 years. So this is an ongoing process. So I don't see January being the last one. So if you want to keep continuing to be in it, I don't see that one being the last one. I may have the next one out March, April timeline, if that's okay. So we're not too close together with the Community Leadership Network. I don't want to take advantage of your time too much, but now that you kind of saw some of that, if you want to see more, if you want to think more of a tour is better, I mean, we could have fun all day one day and go all over the place. But I think you got a flavor for the different ages of facilities just for what we saw today. So, all right, I appreciate y'all spending the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is some of what schools districts put in now for turf. It's fake grass. It kind of looks like your Christmas tree.
It doesn't say matted down.
What they do is they take these fibers and they put in these
rubber pellets
of rubber and sand. And
so when you see them running in the TV and the HD quality, you see the dirt flying out. What's the dirt? It's the rubber.
There's so many of them now. You know, the general term is synthetic turf. That's what they're talking about right here. Now you got matrix. It all depends on who makes it, how they make it. You know.
This company right here, you know, AstroTurf. They first generated it. Field Turf is one of the first generated.
Oh, thank you.
So they call it Field Turf, but it's that's really Field Turf.
Huh?
These are all.
Yes, most definitely. I'll be at all of them.
On that field when you're in high school?
Yeah, I was right at home.
You might have ran up for the last time.
You're right about that.
What's that, the lifespan? All these, today is a typical 7-year warranty. You know.
Yeah, looking at doing a color one like a Boise State.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it simple. That makes it simple.